All right, I am joined by Cody Bollinger, who's going to be fighting here at Titan FC 34 here on July 18th. Cody, man, how you feeling? How's training camp going so far?
I feel great, man. First off, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure. I feel awesome. Can't wait to fight. Fight's been pushed back a couple times, man, so I'm really anxious. I've had a long camp. I've been ready for the last month, and now just dialing things in and getting the weight down. So I'm excited. This is going to be a great fight.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, you're coming off of your last fight was in March, which we'll talk about here in a second, but you're going to be fighting Freddy Assunca here, Titan FC 34 in Kansas City. It'll be live on UFC Fight Pass. Now, with Freddy's not really an overly explosive guy, but, he just kind of grinds his way out to wins. What are your thoughts when this fight was, given to you, and your thoughts on Freddy as an opponent and what he brings to the table?
You said it, man. He's a good opponent. He's a tough guy, and he likes to grind out wins. He's not most explosive. He's a little older for the fight game. He's pushing his 30s, I believe. It's a great matchup for both of us. He's on a really good win streak, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but beating me is a good thing. Even though I'm coming off of a loss, him beating me puts him in a really good position, possibly for a title shot or even a straight shot to the UFC, and it works the same way around, vice versa. Me beating him puts me right back where I was before I lost to Andre. Hopefully in title contention. If not, I'm at least still there at the top, with a good name, fighting my way back to where I was, and hopefully making it to the UFC soon. So this is a perfect matchup. We both got a lot to gain and a lot to lose off of this fight. So I'm excited, man. I was excited when they offered. I never turned down a fight, no matter who it is. And it's just another tough fight that I'm going to have to work through.
Now, I got to say this. Me and Freddy are the same age, so Freddy's not old, okay? 32 is not old. I'm not going to let you get away with calling him old. But like you said, though, this is a tough fight for you. You're coming off of a loss. Was it important to kind of get an opponent who has that winning streak and has some buzz about them? So, like you said, you can get back on the win. Back on the kind of where you were here back earlier this year, and not just a soft touch to get a W.
Yeah, man. A lot of guys when they lose a fight, they go and try and take easier fights, and try and build up and get a couple wins in, get that win streak going again before they take another tough fight. I've never been one to pick fights. You can ask any promoter, anybody I've ever worked for or trained with or anything. I've never turned down a fight, no matter who it is, no matter how short notice, any circumstance. It's always a yes. Obviously, this is a tough fight, and I might have preferred a lesser opponent, just to get a win going and get back in the rhythm. But it was offered. I said yes, and it's just a quicker jump start back to where I was. It's a great fight.
And as you stated, you are coming off that loss here in March at Titan FC 33 to Andre Harrison, who's actually going to be fighting for the title, also here on Titan FC 34. What was maybe the biggest takeaway you had from that loss? And and after kind of thinking about the fight and maybe even watching the fight on replay, what was the biggest takeaway you had from that defeat?
I was too calm. Earlier in my career, I was really tense, really aggressive, kind of overbearing almost, and overdid everything. I was way too aggressive and didn't know when to pull back and relax and feel my opponent out. And now I'm a little too comfortable, or at least in that last fight, I was a little too comfortable and too calm. I kind of let my ego get to me. When I was in dangerous positions or when I got taken down, I didn't bust my ass to get back up. I just stayed calm and didn't let it really affect me. And the biggest takeaway I'd say was just learning how to be in the middle of those two, being aggressive and being calm and comfortable. I'm still young in the sport. I'm learning, man, and I'd say that's the biggest thing I took away from that fight is just trying to keep my calm and comfortableness at a medium level with my aggression and my pressure.
Now, since Andre is, since he won that fight, now he's going to get the shot here at the champion, Kurt Holloway. Obviously, I know that fight's going to be the co-main event of the night here at Titan FC 34. So you're going to have a little bit of a vested interest in that fight, given that's in a division. How do you kind of see that fight playing out as far as, Kurt making his first title defense and Andre challenging for now his second title here in his very short and brief career?
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, man. I think Andre's going to have kind of the same game plan he had against me. Keep against the cage, work the takedowns, and grind out the fight. Paul's is a tough dude, man. He's really technical. I mean, they're both really tough, technical guys, so it's going to be a fun fight to watch, and I'm definitely going to be paying close attention after I get this win because, if all goes well and I look impressive, beating his Sun out, hopefully I'll get the next shot, It's going to be a fun fight to watch, man. I see Holloway trying to keep it on the feet. But if it goes to the ground, they both got good grappling, so it's going to be interesting.
Now, like you said, you're going to be sitting back watching, and all of us are going to get to watch it here on UFC Fight Pass. Now, how did you, as a Titan FC fighter, find out that the deal was done? Because, all of us in media were kind of wondering, it seemed like Titan FC was really loading up at Titan FC 33 here in March. We heard rumblings but weren't sure, and then it kind of went quiet because typically Titan FC has a fight every month, and then April went by, May went by, June was like halfway over, and then boom, this hit. So how did you find out about the deal and that you would actually be on Fight Pass, and then the fight was actually moved from being in Montreal to Kansas City?
Yeah, man, I actually found out in April. It's really hard to keep it a secret, not say anything, knowing since April. They had been in talks with the UFC about it for a while, and they had to work on their CBS deal and getting out of that in a way that either side was going to be okay with it, and obviously coming to an agreement with the UFC Fight Pass. On how all that was going to work, So I knew for a while. I was happy they finally announced it. I was starting to doubt it for a little bit, because it was supposed to be in June and then early July, and now it's mid-July. So there's a little bit there when I was like, well, is it going to happen? Or they finally announced it, so I'm stoked, man. It's going to be a great opportunity, and besides the UFC, I don't see a better regional stage that you could be put on right now.
Well, see, now it makes more sense when you said this fight had gotten delayed a couple times. And I'm also a little bit pissed at Jeff Harrison for holding out on me. If this guy knew in April he didn't tell nobody, I definitely have to speak to him about that. Now, like you said, you kind of have to keep that under the wraps, and you thought you were going to be fighting at different times. How hard was it to kind of maintain your focus and your mental mind frame when you're training and you don't have an exact date on when you may fight, or it keeps fluctuating? How tough was that for you to kind of stay focused and keep a task, keep in mind the task at hand for you?
It was a little difficult, man. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I expected to fight, June 3rd or June 5th, and started my camp mid-April, moved up to Big Bear for a whole month to kind of work out the timing of this and have it all come together at a specific time and, be ready on that certain day. So it kind of changed my camp a couple times, and I did have to refocus a few times because it's been a long camp, man, and I train hard, so there's days where, I don't want to practice, or I'm just freaking tired from, busting my ass 3, 4, 5 times a day since April. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, man, but we got an official date. I got an official fight. I got a tough opponent ahead of me, and there's no way I'm letting that, bother me mentally.
Now, with this kind of extended camp, now, how much has that cut down to your time for your racing and your working on cars? Because I know you like to do that outside the cage, and that kind of helps keep your mind clear and get you away from the fight game. But how much would you be able to do that over the last couple of months?
Not as much as I would have liked to, man, because I do have to focus more during fight camps, but I got a great wife and a great coach and team and parents that they'll let me have some fun on the weekends. So as long as I train my ass off during the week, and Saturdays are a little bit lighter, but I still train. Sundays, man, we go to church and I work on my car and race a little, but so after this fight, I'm going to make up for lost time. But, I've got enough to hold me over until then.
Right on, because we're just really 2 weeks out here. Like I said, UFC Fight Pass here, July 18th, in my backyard of Kansas City. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to make sure I introduce myself to everyone. Is this going to be your first time actually fighting in Kansas City?
Yeah, man. I wrestled in Kansas City in high school for nationals. I've never fought there though, so I'm excited. It should be fun, man.
Now, hopefully, after your fight and after you get the win, you can have your cheat meal and get some barbecue. I'm encouraging everyone to do that while they're here in my city. Please partake in the barbecue if you do nothing else. It's going to be hot, I can tell you that. But definitely partake in the barbecue after the fight. You can't do it until after the fight, not before weigh-ins, not after weigh-ins. You'll get the itis, you'll get weighed down, and it would not be a fun fight in there when you're against Freddy Assunca. It would not be fun, my man.
Hey, sounds good, man. I'll make sure we get some.
Well, absolutely. Now, Cody, man, make sure you shout out your sponsors and let the fans know where they can keep tabs on you on social media.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all Cody Bollinger. No numbers or hashtags or any symbols or anything. Just Cody Bollinger on all the social media. As far as sponsors, I want to thank Jocko. I want to thank Lexani. Who else? I don't want to forget anybody. Future Energy Savers. And that's about it right now, man.
Now, I wonder here now, the big news of the day as we're recording this is, the UFC Fight Kit and how, the sponsors of old are now going away from the UFC. Have you had any of those opportunities kind of present themselves to you yet? Or do you think that those doors may open up for some of the fighters on maybe the regional circuit or the smaller shows per se, now that they can't be a part of the UFC, but they can still be visible on UFC Fight Pass with Titan now being a part of that?
Yeah, it's definitely been a good opportunity, man. And a lot of sponsors are looking for other places to keep their brand alive. I know a lot of Bellator guys have benefited from it already. I think the main sponsors are still trying to figure out where they're going to land and what they want to do next as far as, the next step for them, keeping their business alive. So I haven't had too many, outside sponsors yet, but I've had a couple, and I definitely expect to see more soon.
Well, absolutely, Cody. Well, we expect to see you put on a great show against Freddy Assunca here, July 18th, UFC Fight Pass, Titan FC 34. Best of luck here, finishing up your training camp, and we'll see you in Kansas City, man.
Hey, kick ass, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No worries at all, my man. You take it easy.